still can't believe fucking hard read that from first try, easy every time.
I can't wait for us to get to the
Literally
culprit select
free.
screen here and we put that in and it's wrong.
Right?
That'd be so fucking funny.
I'd be sad. Oh, she got all happy about it. Select the culprit. The culprit is Battler. And we were talking about this afterwards, right? Like, specifically how we basically skipped, because of our own unsurety over how the rules were meant to be interpreted, we skipped over the bit where you get the first solid foothold, right, of Jessica and Nanjo both being for sure dead, and instead skipped to creating scenarios based on like what groups of victims and accomplices would have to be true, and then just went with the minimal case of that to check first because that seemed the most reasonable.
Yep.
So we still did the logic, we just made it a little bit harder on ourselves, but which again I think was valid because like I think, although I am surprised we didn't notice anything about Jessica definitely being a corpse at that point, but so it goes.
Especially because we did look.
Yeah. So regardless,
that was why we did the reread.
Regardless. Yeah. Oh. Oh, the burn. Do you see that one with Burn being really unhappy?
Yeah.
Someone told us that, yeah, you also get an achievement for doing it without any hints. And I'm like, oh, well, that's nice. You got the achievement. I think this is going to be Angie here.
Somebody. Is anyone there? Oni-chan. Ah.
Angie flew out of the guest house, sobbing.
Is there anyone still alive on this island?
When she checked the cousin room earlier, it had been completely empty. However, she remembered that she hadn't seen Battler, George, or Maria's bodies. What she didn't know was whether this meant they were safe or whether she was about to be reunited with them as corpses.
Where are they? Where? Answer me.
She dashed around through the rain. Where was she going? Nowhere in particular. The lost little sister dashed around in circles, searching for her brother. Drenched with rain and all alone.
Eventually, I thought I heard my brother's voice from beyond a bush.
Ooh!
Ooh. No, it wasn't just his voice. I heard George Oni-chan's and Maria One-chan's voices too. I called out at the top of my lungs, but they didn't answer. But it's okay now. They're right there. Just on the other side of the fence. I could even faintly see them through the fence. When I ran around the fence, I found myself standing in front of a shed or something. It must be a shed to store tools for the rose garden. The three of them were standing in front of the shed.
Ugh. I never liked sheds. Considered getting a second one, though.
Oni-chan! I cried out, but my voice didn't reach them. Even though I yelled so loudly, something felt very wrong about all this. When people hear a voice, even when they pretend not to have heard it, their bodies tend to show some sign that they've noticed. However, there was no trace of that in the three of them. Even though I was screaming so loud, it truly wasn't reaching their ears. The instant I understood that, my dash toward them slowed and came to a halt. Though we appeared to be in the same world, we were actually in different worlds entirely. It was like seeing someone on TV. Or was it more like seeing a ghost? I could see them clearly, but as far as they were concerned, I didn't exist. After all, look. Even if I stand in front of them, their eyes can't see me. If I try and touch them, will I really be able to? What if my hand just went right through? I was so scared at the thought that I could do nothing but stand there in shock, even though I was so close to them.
God damn it! I don't have a clue anymore! Someone must have snuck in from outside the island after all. And they're massacring the Ushiromiya family!
Yeah, but no matter how we lock ourselves in, someone always gets killed. Yeah, but it's the work of a witch after all.
Everyone, calm down. Let's calm down and think. No one exists on this island except those with a direct relation to the Ushiromiya family.
That doesn't make sense. After all, we've just seen several murders that'd be impossible for any one of us.
Well, that's true, but is it really? Maybe we've just missed something.
You missed something.
For example, that's right, maybe someone was playing dead. Since we're the only ones on this island, the culprit must be one of us. That means someone we thought was dead was actually faking.
But Aniki, that's impossible. Every one of the corpses was checked by someone. There's no way any of them were faking.
I don't want to think about it, but what if those corpse inspections were also faked?
Faked Corpse Inspection is the name of my new technical death metal band.
You woo woo.
It could have gone like this. There were multiple culprits from the start, then one plays dead and the other lies and confirms that the first culprit died. Then, the culprit who played dead keeps on committing crimes, creating the illusion that some stranger has snuck onto the island.
Do you still suspect someone of the Ushiromia family of being the culprit?
Dr. Nanjo was killed, so it's probably safe to say that he isn't a culprit. And we consider the examinations performed by a doctor like him to be the most reliable.
If so, then it's fair to say that the people whose death Nanjo checked were almost certainly dead. Who did Nanjo check? Genji's corpse, Kraus and Natsuhi's corpses, Shannon's corpse, Yoda and Kumasawa's corpses.
Think back to the beginning and the bodies in the dining hall. Of those 6 victims, Dr. Nanjo only inspected Genji-san.
Someone's getting really close to a plane pushing here, George.
You, but didn't the rest of us check the others?
Yes, but Dr. Nanjo didn't actually inspect them himself.
What are you talking about? How the hell could our parents have survived after being killed like that? Anyway, what do you think you're saying, George Aniki? Wouldn't that mean one of our parents is the culprit? That's insane! They were killed right at the beginning, and so many of them. How can you accuse our parents of being killers after that? And we'll let anyone, not even you, suspect and slander our parents after they've been killed like that.
Lamau.
Wow. What a dark reprisal of Battler's argument from... What was that? Was that episode 2? Yeah, that takes on a whole new light now, doesn't it? Oh, wow.
Sorry.
You, I know my mom was really dead. That means George Ani-chan's parents or Battler's parents were the culprits.
Who's talking?
I think that's George now.
Let's stop this, Maria-chan. I must have lost it a bit back there.
You, George Ani-chan wanted to kill Shannon.
That's enough. None of us would kill members of our family, right?
I don't think George Oni-chan would lie and say his parents were dead. Not if they were really alive. There's no way George Oni-chan would help out in a crime if Shannon was going to be killed.
Calmly, as though answering a quiz or riddle, Maria spoke to George. Then with a blank look on her face, she turned to Battler and spoke.
Battler, you saw your dad's and mom's corpses, right?
Yeah, I saw them. We all saw them, right? Those pitiful bloodstains.
I think you're lying.
What? Where the hell did that come from?
Because that way it all makes sense. Back in the dining hall, Battler's parents weren't dead. One of them killed Aunt Natsuki and Uncle Kraus and locked the door from the inside and waited in that room. The other one took over the murders after that. To break open the closed room of the guest house, they needed to have an accomplice inside. That was Battler. Explains everything.
Enough!
Stop it, Battler-kun. You too, Maria-chan.
Finally, all the pieces fit together in the wolves and sheep puzzle in my head. The culprits are Battler and family. Am I right?
What are you talking about? Oh, wait, no. Kiria would still be in the house. Correct. Oh, no, I guess now the game's over. They can come out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Correct. The voice came from behind Angie. She spun around, surprised. There, covered in blood, yet wearing cheery expressions, were Rudolph and Kirie.
Uncle Rudolph, Aunt Kirie, I'm so glad you're set.
After saying that much, George realized what his words meant, and his face twisted into an expression of shock and horror. Maria wasn't surprised. However, she showed no joy at having her answer proved correct. And as for Battler, Angie saw it. The terrible expression, one that she would never forget as long as she lived. It was a demon's smile. A hideous demon that she'd never see again twisted its face in a foul grin, and the truly horrible thing was that she saw it on her brother's face. Rudolph and Kirie lifted up the guns they had been holding behind them. The barrels pointed at the foreheads of George, who staggered backwards, and Maria, who grinned as though she was beyond caring what happened next. There was a flash of lightning and a crack of thunder. Nothing more could be heard. Then as George and Mario were snapped around by that roar, the strings holding them were snipped. The two dolls fell into puddles with a splash and stopped moving. Dad, Mom! After all this occurred right before Angie's eyes. Ah!
I like how his evil face looks kind of like he's pog-champing a little.
It does, a little bit. I mean, where do you think we got the idea to have the PogChamp, the PogChamp battler for that one thumbnail? Angie, who stood stunned beside them, wasn't visible to their eyes. They guffawed, overcome with laughter. Then, right in front of Angie, they started joking and complimenting each other on their kills so far. The three hideous faces, the faces of her family, made Angie want to cry and vomit at the same time, and she felt as though she would suffocate. Angie dashed away, covering her mouth. She wanted to escape the disgusting laughter coming from her beloved family as soon as possible, and then she slipped and fell face down in a puddle of mud. She didn't try to get up. In fact, she instead chose to cover her ears as to block out the disgusting laughter that she could still hear. As she did, from the shadows of the fences and bushes in this inky black rose garden, several dark things slipped into sight.
Huh?
Angie looked around in surprise to see eerie black shapes appearing from all over the garden and slowly surrounding her. It was a crowd of people with goat heads. Their outfits were all different. Some wore suits while others were dressed casually. However, all of them were covered with darkness and all of them had goat heads. Angie, bewildered, accidentally let her hands fall from her ears. By now she couldn't hear that disgusting laughter. However, in their place, she could hear the words spoken by the goats.
Nah, Kyrie and Rudolph are the culprits. Nah. Battler's the culprit. Battler's the culprit. Nah. Battler culprit theory. Battler's family culprit theory.
The goats are the fucking witch hunt people
Huh.
whose presence on the island are there judging and determining what's going on. The goats continued to mumble in eerie voices. They surrounded Angie and began to draw nearer. They all pressed around her, each of them naming Angie's family as the culprits. At first, everyone joined in on the Ava culprit theory. The sole survivor from Rokkenjima got almost all of the wealth to herself, so such a theory was only natural. Why was Ushiromi Ava the only one who escaped Kuadorian? And why did she refuse to so stubbornly to talk about what happened that day? It was decided that the Ava culprit theory fit all these facts. However, when Ava died of illness, and people learned that all the vast wealth she had created by unscrupulous means would go to Angie, public opinion, or rather the forgers, that's funny now, created and spread a new culprit theory. Imagining your forger just poring over documents of fucking Rokkenjima people.
Oh, look, Lloyd-san. I think it's very likely that Kyrie did it.
Was this the Rudolph family culprit theory? It was normal for everyone to come to the family conferences. Why was Angie the only one who didn't come this time? Did Rudolph's family have some reason for not bringing the young Angie with them? They did take Battler, but he wasn't Kyrie's son. Then, it was revealed in some magazines that Kyrie's family had close ties to a massive gangster organization. All eyes suddenly gathered on Kyrie herself. The truth of how Rudolph had made a killing out of fraudulent business practices was also laid bare, and almost immediately the couple became thought of as the most suspicious people on the island. Hideyoshi and Ava's company might have been heavy-handed at times, but at least it operated within the law. However, the more Rudolph's company was investigated, the more dirt was dug up. Furthermore, testimony was dug up about various scandals involving party tickets from the time Rudolph and Kyrie were students, and it was clear that they were far more suspicious than Ava's family. And so, in a flash, the Rudolph's family culprit theory expelled the other conspiracy theories, including the Ava culprit theory, and reigned as the greatest of them all. It wasn't really because it was more plausible than the Ava culprit theory. They had just gotten bored of the old theory and wanted a new sensation. The goats seemed to bend and undulate. The sky rapidly turned white, becoming a ceiling lit by fluorescent lamps. The goats had changed completely, becoming the shapes of girls wearing goat masks. All of the girls were wearing the same clothes. It was a uniform. the uniform of St. Lucia Academy.
Did you hear? The real culprits were Rudolph and Kyrie. I heard. Yeah, I knew there was something suspicious about them leaving their kid behind. Didn't Ushiromia Eva say that she herself was poisoned to death? Isn't it obvious who was behind that? Nah. Must be nice for her. She gets her whole family's riches all to herself, right? Nah. I always knew the Rudolph family culprit theory was right. I always thought there was something wrong with Ushiromia-san. Whisper, whisper, whisper. Nah. Rudolph and Kyrie are culprits. Isn't Battler a culprit too? Rudolph's family culprit theory. Rudolph and Kyrie are the killers. They tried to get the family wealth all to themselves, but Eva killed them back and they failed. But at the end, Ushiromia Angie gets everything anyway, doesn't she? Rudolph and Kyrie are the culprits, of course. Rudolph family culprit theory. Rudolph and Kyrie and Battler are the culprits. Rudolph and Kyrie and Battler are the culprits. They're saying your family were the culprits, Ushiromia-san. Nah, what do you think of that? Hey, what do you think? But in the end, you get all the family wealth yourself, don't you? Even at the end, Ushiromia Eva never told you anything, right? I always knew that girl was suspicious. This also explains why Eva hated you so much. Hey, say something. Tell us what you think. She really is a creepy kid, isn't she? Can't you at least tell us what you think of this theory, you creep?
A blade of air...
A blade of air swept over me as I crouched down, holding my head.
Well, that was extra.
In a flash, the illusion of female students with goat heads that surrounded me shattered.
Yo, what up?
I was curled up in a puddle in the rainy rose garden, surrounded by goats. But then, those goats were also sliced in half, and the upper halves slid to the side. It was like seeing a master swordsman slicing through a stick of bamboo.
Yo, over here, this way.
The voice came from that black cat.
Oh, okay.
The black cat with the bell that had guided me here. Incredible that it can talk, but that doesn't matter now. I dashed after it.
I guess I just committed it to giving it will voice.
The goats shrank back.
Oh.
A hole opened up in the encirclement. The black cat dashed through it. As I hurried through it, the goats began to chase after me. Countless heavy footsteps thundered behind us. Where are we running to, Mr. Cat? The cat ignored my stupid question. Where are we running to? It's obvious. As far away as we can make it. However, there was an unbelievable number of goats. It wasn't just the group chasing us. There were probably goats hiding throughout the rose garden, and everywhere we went, a group of them would appear and block our path. Each time we bumped into them, we ran down a different path in this maze of a rose garden. So I didn't even know which direction we were running anymore. It couldn't be. We aren't running around in circles inside a massive crowd of goats, are we? When we ran into the arbor once more, I learned that my fears were justified. The 4 paths that led from the arbor were all blocked by a crowd of goats. Of course, the path we had come down was also blocked by our pursuers. There was nowhere to go and nowhere to return to. We were finally trapped. Mr. Cat, what should we do? We're surrounded. The black cat glared at the goats that surrounded us, standing on guard. It's all over for us. At that moment, I found myself floating in the air. A massive arm, large enough to crush my entire head, had grabbed my collar from behind. Before I could even think to cry out, I saw, right in front of my face, a pair of strangely glowing red eyes and a massive mouth, with jagged teeth and a foul breath. The mouth opened wide, and as though it was a separate creature, a bizarre tongue stuck itself out. Then, it spat words at me.
Rudolph, Kyrie, and Battler are the culprits. Rudolph, Kyrie played dead, and Battler lied when he inspected them. Then one of the parents carried out the murders up until the second twilight and hid under the bed in Otzi's room. Battler killed Shannon, then assisted the murders in the guest house. The other parent carried out the guest house murders. This is the truth.
Then that gaping, smelly mouth slowly began to close over my, Angie's, head.
Counter. It's possible to form a logical theory other than the Rudolph's family culprit theory.
A blue flash sliced off the top of the mouth that was trying to eat Angie's head, sending it flying. I fell into a puddle, along with the goat that was still grasping my collar, although there was nothing left of it above its chin. Without any hesitation, the goats stretched out their thick arms as though they'd been given a second chance to snatch this prey for themselves, and they rushed towards me. All of them spoke in unison.
Anything beside the Rudolph family's culprit theory would be impossible. Absolutely impossible.
Ooh. Is this Battler coming to rescue Angie? What's going
It's
on
possible
here?
to form a logical explanation other than the Rudolph's family culprit theory. For example, theory with George's family as the culprit is possible.
That's interesting. So is this going to be the thing where it would have to be George killed Shannon, George killed Cannon, and Cannon and Shannon were different people?
Yeah.
That we had mentioned being like, that could work, maybe?
Yeah.
A red flash and a blue line became blades of wind that passed over my head, doubly slicing the arms of a goat that tried to pick me up. I think the next goats dashed, not towards me, but toward the black cat that was protecting me from behind. As I sat on my butt, staring up towards the rainy night sky, the massive goats were in the air right above me, fighting the black cat, or someone.
And George's family culprit theory is impossible. George can't kill Shannon, so he can't be a culprit, and he can't lie when checking corpses.
No, it's possible. A culprit is defined as one who murders. No one ever said they have to murder a character who appears in the story.
I fucking called that out, and we were like, no, that can't be it. I fucking called that out.
In other words, George committed murder outside the island. Sometime before this crime, he could be a culprit without killing anyone on the island. It would be possible for him to lie.
The theory where George just coincidentally killed a child a couple years ago and can now lie.
Killed a child and only a child.
Yeah.
The deep red curves bit into the goat.
Its massive body was knocked into the air, became about 7 logs of flesh, and was thrown into the rose bushes. This time, the terrible force of the attack shocked the goats. They faltered, shook, stepped back. Finally, I understood. That red slice, it had come from a weapon that could draw red slashes. No, it also drew blue slashes just a second ago. It was a massive sight that could speak both types of truth, red and blue, at will.
So who wields a scythe? Haven't we seen a scythe before?
I don't know.
Did we see a scythe at the end of the, like with whoever that reader? I forget what her name was. The reader who stood in
Claire?
Claire, yeah.
Oh yeah, Berncastle was totally gonna scythe her up, right?
So it's Bernie?
Was it Berncastle?
But this was described as a male voice, which
Was
I
it?
guess is fine.
I
It was
guess.
at one point, yes. Which I guess is fine. Good for her. Good for him.
I looked up at the sky, then let my head hang down backwards. Oh!
There wasn't. Oh, this is still you.
There was no black cat there. It was a girl holding a large scythe.
How's that? This level of reasoning is possible for Ferudo, Erica.
When the crowd of goats recognized the girl who called herself Erica, a stir passed through it. It was clear that this person had enough of a reputation to make them tremble. I wonder what would have happened if we selected Ava and George and Hideyoshi.
That would have been funny.
If it would have still let us through to this.
Maybe.
Erica lifted me up, flew into the air, and landed on top of the arbor. Then she let go of me, still wielding her scythe, and made an elegant curtsy to the crowd of goats surrounding us.
Hey kid, this is probably the first time that most of you have met me. Allow me to introduce myself. Pleased to meet you, everyone. I'm Ferudo Goddamn Erica, the detective. And if you're one of those blockheads who can only think of the Rudolph's family culprit theory, stand down. If anyone thinks they can counter my argument, please, feel free. Of course, I won't be holding back either.
The goats all howled at once. It seemed to be a cry of shock, of fear, or possibly of awe. The goats surrounded the arbor, chattering, but not moving any closer. None of them had the courage to stand against this detective, this witch of truth called Ferudo Erica.
Good grief. All those thousands, and this is the best you can do? None of you has the courage to fight Ferudo Erica in a battle of words. Too bad. Let's put an end to this. Then again, I, Ferudo Erica, don't have enough spare time to counter all you blockheads one by one. I'll let her clean up the rest. You're up!
When Erica cried out, red cracks opened in the dark night sky. It looked like the spiderweb-shaped fissures that appear when a glass window has been struck hard. Or was it more like a blood-red spiderweb? A laugh rang out through the spiderweb-covered world.
Finally, time for me to do every single shitty voice I've done to my throat over this.
A witch's laugh. It sounded somehow familiar to Angie. And there, standing on the spiderweb and gazing down on the goats who must have looked like trapped bugs, was the witch.
You forget me, and you call him the ruler of Rokkenjima. You forget me and you think Rudolph is the culprit?
It was the witch who had hidden inside of Ava, a witch of the future, who would one day call herself the Endless Witch after the cat box closed over this world.
Who forgets Eva Beatrice and calls himself the murderer of Rokkenjima, huh? How impertinent. On this island, who lives and who dies is totally up to me. Just me. All the wealth and gold is mine, after all. Everything about October 4th and 5th, 1986 is mine to do with as I please. It all belongs to me, Eva Beatrice.
Ava swung her one-winged staff at the crowd of foolish goats beneath her, proclaiming their deaths. The ceiling of spiderwebs that covered the heavens plummeted, and more spiderwebs seeped out of the ground at the goats' feet. Then the webs from above and below met, and thousands upon thousands of goats were caught in their grasp. Then, as Ava swung her staff, it swirled, around and around like egg yolk being mixed in a bowl. Eventually, it was all packed into a massive blood-red goo. The moans of goats drifted out from inside. That entire crowd had been compressed into a meatball a few meters across.
So you morons doubt that I'm the culprit, huh? Reaching the Eva culprit theory and getting up there is good enough for the likes of you. If only you just get crushed and disappear.
It's really hard to differentiate these two when I'm doing them right back and forth, but hopefully it's clear enough.
Squelch. No other word could do that sound justice. After sucking in all of those goats, the spiderweb ball vanished into thin air with a squelch. After that, there wasn't even a trace left. The dark rose garden lay there without any sound but that of the falling rain. Ava drifted down from the sky.
Your aunt will always be on your side, Angie-chan. I'll never let anyone insult your family.
Aunt Ava, I knew I should be grateful.
There. Does that? I don't know what to do with kids. I'm still like kind of like a child, so there.
I think maybe you pick him up and shake him or something. Here, let me give it a try. Angie, tell me, is this helping?
And yet, it really wasn't easy for me to believe that Aunt Ava was my ally. Ava realized that too.
Don't worry. I'm not doing this because I want to be thanked, but I'll always be on your side. See you later.
She giggled, spun around, and vanished. Now that she had already left, I started to regret not saying even a thank you. So I figured I should at least thank the other person who had saved me. Thanks for saving me. Who are you? I already knew her name. What I was really asking was why she had saved me.
I'm riddle Erica, the detective. And I'm also a witch.
A witch?
Yeah, didn't you see it from the outfit? A witch of truth. One who searches for the single truth. And so are you, right?
Those 2 days, October 4th and 5th, 1986. I've been so desperate to know what happened that I took a step off the roof of that skyscraper, drifted through several witch games and fragment worlds, and abandoned myself to this long journey with no rewards. All I want is to know what happened that day.
So, are we coming down on Angie did actually die after throwing herself off a skyscraper? Huh?
All I want is the single truth of that day.
Searching for something like that is what makes you a witch of truth. So, you're just the same as me. That's why I came to save you.
I want to know just what happened on that day. No one will tell me, no one knows, but I know something happened that day. I'd give up anything to learn what that was. That's the one thing I need to know, no matter what, even if it kills me. So tell me. You know, don't you? You know what happened on this island, right?
Does a witch of truth expect to be given the truth? If I told you that so-and-so is the truth, would you really just accept whatever I said?
No, I wouldn't.
What did Battler-san show you today?
Today, Oni-chan showed me a bizarre Halloween party. It may have been heartwarming and a lot of fun, but it definitely wasn't the truth.
Did Battler-san show you something and say it was the truth?
It's not. That couldn't be the truth.
Sometimes other people will try to mislead us by claiming that they know the truth. But a real witch of truth must continue to pursue the single truth without being led astray. That's why you can't accept the fake truth that Battler-san is trying to force on you. You care about finding the one real truth more than anything.
Yeah. Oni-chan is trying to confuse me. I felt that this whole time. Even though he knows everything about what happened that day, he won't tell me anything at all. How is he any different from Aunt Ava, who mocked me and refused to tell me anything, even until the very moment of her death? Why won't Oni-chan tell me? Why? Why won't he tell me? The dam inside my heart burst. Why won't Oni-chan tell me what really happened? Why? Why? I'm the only one who doesn't know. No one's telling me the truth. Tell me. Tell me what happened that day, Oni-chan. Oni-chan. I cried out at the rainy night sky. Hot tears poured from my eyes, but they were covered by the cold rain that beat against me, so no one other than me would know that they were tears. No one would know my pain and sadness. I'm always the only one alone, all alone. Someone, tell me. Tell me what happened that day.
No one can tell you. After all, you can only find the truth if you look for yourself.
Where is the truth? How can I find it? Everyone's hiding it. They won't tell me. I'll find it myself, so please just tell me where the truth is hidden.
Very well. I can tell you that much.
As that voice rang out, the world bent and swirled. After blinking several times, I realized that the world had become a sea of stars. No, that's not quite right. There are stars up there in the sky, but those lights below me aren't stars. They're lights from building windows, street lights, car lights. I was floating in the dark sky over a city lined with skyscrapers.
I can't tell you what the truth is. However, if it's a question of how the truth can be reached, I can show you the way.
You. Various bad memories are jumping out at me from the back of my mind. That's right. I was chained in place in that strange theater and forced to watch a repulsive fragment where Mom and Dad committed murder.
I never said that was the truth.
But I heard what you said with the red. I'll say it just for you, that this is all truth.
You yelled out and interrupted, stopping you from saying any more. Not to say that this is all truth. That this is all truth isn't necessarily so.
A, fuck you.
Reasonable.
B, just how far are you willing to go to mock me?
I mean, have you met me? I'm sorry about that, but I did want to test you.
Test me how?
I wanted to see if you were ready to accept the truth no matter what it may be. The truth can betray you sometimes. In fact, there are times when it shows itself as the thing that you desire the least. That fragment I showed you was probably the worst one you could possibly imagine. However, if you lack the strength and courage to withstand even something like that, then you aren't fit to reach the truth.
I have no comeback. Finding the truth is my goal. I just want to know what happened on the island that day. I don't like to think that I only want to hear what I want to hear. Am I really prepared to face the bloody, unbearable truth that probably awaits me? If I find the truth, it'll probably mean having to look straight at my family's tragic final moments and accepting them as they are. And if I do accept that, it means abandoning my faint hope for a convenient miracle. The idea that one of them might have survived somehow and might return, even though 12 years have passed.
Well, I've got theories about that. If you're on the Discord, you know that I've been proposing a certain theory that a certain brother might have survived and gone on to become a certain different person within this story. That I'm still not sure I'm committing to it, but like I showed you that, right?
You did.
Yeah. Okay. Just because the one thing that's weird is that the reason that it might be possible is that the only person who we really know definitely died, right, was Maria, because we find fragments of her teeth, but everyone else was just obliterated and assumed dead. So, and the game also takes very big pains to let us know that if someone's missing for 7 or more years, they are considered dead. So, in theory, it would be possible for someone, not naming any particular brothers, who might have been able to survive, retreat away from society until they were declared missing and considered having died on the island, and then starting a new life, and perhaps maybe as a mystery author, for example. Just throwing stuff out there. A mystery author who might have maybe, maybe had some gendery things happen in the interim, and maybe it was like, I don't know how to introduce myself back into my sister's life anymore. When, it's this whole Odysseus thing where you can't really just like walk back into someone's life after that length of time without any like preamble, right? And also like, how do you say, hey, I'm alive, but also I'm different now? So
It's just a thought.
Just a thought.
Okay, so one question about this theory.
Yeah.
What?
I know, that's why I didn't really want to get into it, but then as soon as I was like, I kind of have to, don't I? Yeah, it's my stupid battlers actually Hashijo theory. But, I mean...
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, several seasons of him. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought like it would make definite thematic sense, like how Hashijo's forgeries always have like that scent of truth about them. Explain how someone could know what have happened on that day and still died. Explained why Hashijo is so fascinated with the Ushiromian family in particular. Explain how she knows all these particular details about the family's life and could create a forgery like the one we just saw about these very weirdly intimate details of the Ushiromi family that have nothing to do with their public personas. And explain like why like doing this all just to get Angie to understand something. So, I don't know. It makes thematic sense. I'm not sure I've thought through every... I also don't know how that works with my battler was transmasculine theory. Because I guess maybe Battler just had several genders, which is fine. Good for him.
If Shannon can have several genders as a treat,
So can Battler.
Battler.
Okay, you know what? That's fine. Anyway, since we're ramping up towards the end here, I thought I'd get that one at least down on camera before we get to the part where we're cutting for the live stream.
I know a miracle like that would be completely ridiculous, but if I'm honest with myself, I have to admit that I've been comforted by that faint hope these past 12 years. I want to know the truth, but I want one of them to come back. Those two wishes contradict each other. By learning the truth, I'll be forced to accept that no one's coming home.
The truth is always cruel. At times it can even cut down your hopes. Most of the time, humans don't realize the costs of learning the truth. I simply wanted to see if you had the necessary resolve.
I must choose between my two contradicting wishes. Will I find the truth and abandon my optimistic hopes for my family's return? Or will I give up on the truth and keep waiting for the family that will never really return for all eternity? Will I freeze up and let myself be fooled by the childish illusion my brother made for me?
Tell me, Angie, are you truly determined to learn the truth?
I am.
And your resolve will not falter?
It won't. After hearing my immediate reply, Berncastle stared at me. Are those expressionless eyes of hers measuring my resolve? Now that my brother is covering up the truth, even after becoming game master, the only thing I can rely on in my search for the truth is the path that Berncastle can show me.
Deep in your eyes, I see the glint of one who seeks the truth.
Will you tell me? Will you show me the way that leads to the truth?
Yes. I'll guide you. Did you forget, Angie? I'm your guardian, right?
How long has it been since I last heard Berncastle use that word? Yes, I haven't heard it since the very beginning, when I met her in this future world and became a witch with her as my guardian. That's when I became the Beatrice of 1998, the one who could defeat the Beatrice of 1986.
You are the Beatrice of 1998, Angie Beatrice. I became your guardian and recognized you as a witch. However, you aren't an endless witch like Beato is.
A witch of truth.
That's right. You're like Erica, a witch of truth, who will seek the single truth undeceived by any illusions.
I guess the witch of truth, Angie Beatrice, has the power to reach the single truth.
Yeah. However, up until now, you've been unable to use this power. Do you know why? Yeah.
I do now. Even though I searched for the truth, I unconsciously resisted learning the truth.
Exactly. Finding the truth was your goal. As soon as they start talking about, like, no longer looking at lies, Berncastle disappears from the image, and I don't see any way around her having thrown herself off a skyscraper here, is the thing that I keep coming back to. Which would also make my Battler's Hachijo theory really sad. Because then it would just be him preparing to tell his sister that he's alive and then discovering that she's actually thrown herself off a building in despair. Which is too tragic for me to contemplate right now, but holy shit. Finding the truth was your goal, but at the same time, you were unconsciously afraid that learning the truth would mean losing that miracle of your family coming back. So, you didn't have what it took to stretch your hand out to the single truth. To reach out to the truth, to borrow a phrase.
You're completely right. I have to admit that I was naive. I must admit it, my entire family is dead. Now that I've acknowledged it, I must expose why they died and who was behind it. Thanks. The fragment you showed me in that dark theater was there to open my eyes.
Many, many games have gone by waiting for you to become a witch of truth. A true witch of truth, but I think there was a purpose to it all. After all, now in this final game, you really have become a witch of truth.
Tell me, what happened on that island that day. I won't ask you to tell me directly, so guide me. What can I do to reach the truth?
It's a bit too chilly here. Let's move.
To where?
Place better for drinking tea. A massive applause filled the hall. It was an applause in honor of a good fight. An applause in honor of Burncastle.
Yes, Lady Burncastle's game was another splendid one.
Hey, we're gonna reveal her game board to everyone here, so have a go at it. It's pretty awesome. But you solved it in the end all the same, huh?
A game that no one can solve isn't a game. The main point is whether it was fun or not.
Did you just say the real answer is the friends we made along the way?
Absolutely.
Fuck.
The secret to murder is to have fun and be yourself.
Okay. What if myself is someone who wants to murder you?
I'm down for that.
It's weird that you are. You understand that, right?
Absolutely.
I don't understand you. Have you no shame?
It's fun. I guarantee it's quality.
Oh, same here. At first I thought there was no way anyone could solve it, but the way you can use one confirmed purple statement after another to narrow down the suspects made for a great puzzle. Maybe don't explain the solution, battler.
Come, everyone. Gather. Gather. Just what sort of game is Lady Burncastle's mystery?
That's for you to find out for yourselves. Objects resembling chessboards were set out on several tables. Crowds gathered around each, looking down with interest. Oh, it's like a logic puzzle, huh?
Quite an orthodox one, don't you think? So, this is what a witch's game is like. Looking at it like this, it's just a game, but for the pieces, it's a massive series of crimes.
Indeed it is. It would not do to waste such a rare gift from Lady Burncastle. Let us take this opportunity to enjoy ourselves.
Still, this is a tough one. It almost makes you wonder if it was made to be solvable, doesn't it?
If you don't start by believing it's made to be solvable, you won't get anywhere. A battle of wits doesn't begin until you trust the questioner and believe that it can be solved. And we guarantee that it is. Come on, have a go at it. With battlers' encouragement, discussions over Burncastle's mystery game began at each table. The mix of humans and illusions and heated debate was truly a sight to behold. Beato and Burncastle sat in a chair far off from the discussions. Would you like some tea?
Any kind of calming black tea for me.
Isn't black tea generally the most caffeinated? How do you find that calming?
With milk, if you don't mind.
Okay. As you wish. Is there anything you need, Lady Burncastle?
I can't be calm without my stimulants.
I don't have time to dissect what that means about you and your personality right now. But if I did, I would be incredibly worried. Please add some dried plums to some black tea for me. That's a trick to making terrible tea drinkable.
Come now, don't sulk. We're honestly complimenting your game for being such a fun one.
Beato, who had emerged victorious in the game Burncastle had put all her heart into, was in extremely high spirits. I'm not sulking. I'm just saying your tea sucks ass. My face just looks this way. I've got RBF, resting burn face. I thought that was funny.
When I managed to spot Burn's own kind of warmth in that expression, I felt like I'd climbed to the pitch black top of a snowy mountain to find a beautiful star.
What? No, you didn't. You can't prove that. Shut up. No, you didn't. Shut up, Lambda. Shut up.
No.
Sorry for having an eternally frosty face.
How difficult it is to compliment Lady Burncastle.
Sorry, I hang out with Lambda all the time for some reason, so you can understand, right?
No matter what you say, she always takes it in a bad way. That's okay. She's the type who'll keep thinking about it for hours later on. The type who lies in bed relishing it while hugging her pillow. Yep, that's Burn for you.
Oh, shut up. Beato and Lambda Delta giggled together. Berncastle shrugged and looked away. Oh, seriously though, that really was a fun game with a twist. You think so? Thank you. You could have made it unsolvable, but you still made it to be solved. You couldn't have done that unless you planned on playing fair and enjoying the game. I like games where I win no matter what. Games that I might lose are just a pain. Later, I'd like to switch sides and try another one. I'll make a puzzle, we'll see if you can solve it. A game for you to win against me. Of course, I'll use all the know-how I picked up in my fights with Beato to make it super hard. I'm not giving up my winning streak that easily. Both you and Beato have such an interesting way of thinking. How's that? The game is just a means to decide who wins and who loses, right? When you create one, your own victory should be your highest priority. So why would you go to all the trouble of making a game you might lose? What fun is there in a game you always win? That's not even a game. Like, definitionally, I don't... Well, I mean, you have stuff like zero-player games, right? Where there isn't actually a winner. And there are, like, other things where you might consider a game that don't actually involve winning or losing and just kind of, like, coming to a resolution at some point and end... But... And then there's co-op games, right? Where the idea is to win together. And I guess the losing state is that you all fail to accomplish an objective together. But... Victory and defeat. It's fun because you're taking part in a fair competition, balance between those two outcomes. A game isn't a fight, it's communication. You have to enjoy the means. And if you manage to win in the end, well, that's just an added bonus.
You heard it here first. Battler says you have to enjoy the memes.
Oh god, did I enjoy that? Oh, is that what I said? That is what I said. Oh no. Finally, I clearly understand the difference between how all of you think and how I think. Well, what do you mean? For you, this is communication. It isn't for me. Oh, the world you live in must be pretty savage. And what about you? Wasn't it the same for you until you understood Beato's game? An eternal game is an eternal torture. Have you already completely forgotten about that pain you suffered? Oh, no, but by like the fourth one, I was kind of into it. There were days I did think that, but now it's all been resolved. I won't complain about stuff that's in the past. I'm impartial, you might say. That is the critical difference between you and me, I think. Your eternal torture was something you could laugh off and forget. Mine wasn't nearly so trivial. That's all there is to it. Well, I don't know your history. Sounds like you had it rough. Think I'm getting sympathy from a mere former piece. I must be getting old. Berncastle, sipping the black tea that Genji had brought her, gazed up at the ceiling with a faraway look. Battler may not have known her history, but even he was able to understand a bit of how she felt. Are you being tortured by someone right now? Are you kidding me? I'm as free as can be. I'm not bound by anyone's shackles. Well, then that's a good thing, isn't it? At least things are better for you now. True. It is much better now than it once was. Though I am on a long, endless journey to escape from boredom. Then at the very least, us meeting here should have been a good thing for you. Indeed. Even the taste of defeat can keep my boredom at bay. Somewhat. No. Battler shook his head and laughed. We're friends who've enjoyed fighting in a fair game. So? In your days filled with nothing but running away from boredom, feel free to drop by our place every now and then. We'd love to welcome a friend. And we'll be able to set up everything needed to help a friend escape from boredom. Game night at Battlers! On Thursdays, we do Commander. You think you can help prepare a welcome interesting enough to help me, the great Berncastle, escape from boredom for even a single night? Oh, I do. That's what it means to be a friend.
It'll be a toughie. She doesn't even get interested when you break out the plane chase deck.
What? How could anyone not be interested in plane chase? It's such novel fun. I love rolling the little dice that has the blank sides and then the one side that isn't blank on it. Well, maybe she'll be happy if we do 15-player Commander Star Emperor. We won tonight's game, so the next time you come, we'll switch sides. This time we'll entertain you with one of our games. Of course, we don't intend to let you win easily. We'll challenge you to a devilishly twisted logic game. Won't be something you could solve in a night. It'll be good enough to make you stay for months, racking your brains over it.
You would entertain me, the great Burncastle, as a friend?
Yeah, we would.
After talking with you, even this dried plum tea is starting to taste sickly sweet. What a pain.
I heard from Beato. Sounds like this dried plum tea stuff is one of your favorites. Next time we'll throw in some high-class dried plums to cover it in gold leaf to make sure you come again.
If you really plan to do that, try finding some better tea to start with, huh? I'll never feel like coming again if you keep serving tea like this.
Oh, come on. Guess the tea you're used to drinking is pretty damn high class, huh? Next time why don't you invite us somewhere we can drink some of that?
Me? Invite you over?
That's only fair, right? We treated you. Now it's your turn.
Yes. Yes, it would only be fair.
Let's have the game be fair, too. Let's switch sides and start a new game. I'm looking forward to it. We won this time, but who knows about the next?
That's some confidence you have there. And yet I'm afraid you've mistaken on one point.
Oh, what's that?
My game isn't over yet. I wonder who will win in the end. After taking one more sip of her black tea, Burncastle set her cup on the table, wearing a thin smile. The tea here is far too sweet. It was a mistake to have any, but thank you, Genji. Take this away, please.
As you wish.
Burncastle asked for her tea to be taken away after taking only 2 sips. Battler smiled, realizing that this was just Burn's way of being shy. Game's not over yet, though.
Battler, why are you smiling with such a foolish, optimistic face? Oh no, this is Burncastle.
If you really think that this final game will be nothing but a happy epilogue, then I'll have to invite you all to a proper game for bringing this tale to a close. Battler. You forget too easily. Don't you remember in whose hands lied the key to this final game?
The inside of my nose itched. I've never regained consciousness to a smell before. Slowly, I opened my eyes. Wait, when did I lose consciousness in the first place? I don't remember going to sleep or falling unconscious. That's right. Burncastle invited me to come to a place better for drinking tea. That's when my memory gets hazy. And since the smell of black tea is what woke me up, where am I?
You're in Aurora's study. I hate to admit it, but her taste in tea really is excellent.
I was sitting on what appeared to be a sofa in a dimly lit study. Burncastle sat across from me, and right before my eyes was a beautiful cup filled with hot, steaming tea. Isn't this place... I remembered. I've been here before, wasn't it?
How pleasant it is to see you again, child of man.
Yes, that voice. Just hearing it brings back memories. Long time no see, my master.
Ah, I didn't think I would get the chance to welcome you into my study again. To think that that game of yours is still continuing. It won't be continuing much longer, though. This is the end, the true final game.
This was the study of Featherine Augustus Aurora, the majestic witch of theater-going, drama, and spectating. Once in the past, I was summoned by her and ordered to be her reader, her Miko. Don't tell me you want me to read again.
I wasn't the one who called you here. My Miko brought the two of us together.
Why?
Isn't it obvious? To show you the path that leads to the truth.
You'll show me the way, Featherine?
Well, I am the witch of theater going.
though I dislike interfering with the actors on the stage. Except for occasionally yelling "Freebird," much to my amusement. So, would you rather watch Battler's boring play, or my exciting one that manipulates the branching paths of fate? I know you can't stand even a minute of boredom.
As Featherine rocked her rocking chair, she looked up at the ceiling and chuckled. She clearly holds some key to the truth I seek.
And yet you are literally the one holding the key. I can do nothing but tell you where to find the keyhole, child of man.
I don't remember saying anything out loud, but Featherine answered my question as though I had. Come to think of it, that's right. Featherine can read the thoughts of a mere child of man like me as easily as she can hear me speak. Well, I guess that'll help us get to the point quicker. Oni-chan did give me this key, but then he just said something about how I'd know how to use it when the time was right. He didn't say a word about what it was used for. Do you two know? What is this key for? Oni-chan said it was something very precious.
Explain, my Miko. No way you explain that. You demand that your master explain. You've got to go on stage every now and then, otherwise you'll just get senile all the faster. My, and yet I just enjoyed some long overdue time on stage when Angie was the reader, which should last me several centuries at least.
Tell me, what is this key?
A physical manifestation of the decision you are to make. This game, will end when you are asked to make a certain decision. What you hold there is the act of your decision embodied in the form of a key.
The physical manifestation of my decision?
Exactly. Battle was probably planning to end it by putting you in front of two doors, both of which can be opened by the key. Then he would ask you to choose which door to open. He must have told you that much, right?
He didn't tell me anything at all. He just kept saying things like, "You'll know when the time comes. No one will tell me anything. Not Oni-chan, not anyone."
Battler probably wants to respect your right to make a decision of your own free will. But Angie, you should have at least started to figure it out by now, right?
Figure what out?
There's an answer Battler wants you to choose, isn't there?
Those words made my heart jump in my chest. It was what I had been thinking. Oni-chan is clearly trying to trick me with a vague tale, almost like a daydream, that'll take me even farther away from the truth. At the 1986 family conference, everyone had a wonderful time as they faded away. Everyone is smiling down on you from heaven, so you don't need to feel alone, even in 1998. So give it your all and live on by yourself. I've clearly sensed Oni-chan's desire to end it like that. Every time I ask him about it, he dodges the issue and says something about how the decision will be mine in the end.
Yeah, that's right. It may appear as though Battler is giving you a fair choice, but he's actually scheming to get you to choose a certain one of those two answers. You've already seen the farce of a tale he's using to do that, right?
That bizarre Halloween party with everyone acting so strange and friendly that it was almost sickening. I've already seen more than enough of that tale, so sickly sweet it makes me want to vomit, where Ushiromiya Kinzo showered me with affection, where his children swore to support each other, where everyone was filled with happiness and hope. He's trying to trick me with those chummy scenes so he can keep me away from the truth. He's such a coward.
True, it might be easy to call him a coward from your perspective, but remember, if you are a player in this game, and if Battler is the game master, what does that imply? In the past, Battler was a player and Beato was the game master, and they each fought for their own respective truths. So what is happening this time?
I'm a player, and Oni-chan's the game master. Could it be that I've misunderstood everything from the very beginning? Oni-chan said he'd tell me what happened on that day, so I assumed that following him meant I'd learn everything. Isn't that the same as, say, Onichan accepting everything Beato said about the crimes being the work of a witch? What a stupid mistake I've been making. So, this game has always been a fight between me and Onichan?
I'm surprised you joined in without realizing that. Battler really is sly, isn't he? He quickly started up the final game without letting you realize that simple fact. Well, it was the same back in Beato's games. Battler was drawn into her game before he knew what was happening, before he even knew how to fight. And that's why I taught him how. And now it's exactly the same. You were forced to start this game before you understood anything about it. And I've come to tell you the truth. To tell you who you're fighting against and for what.
I was too shocked to speak. And finally, I realized what I needed to accomplish in this game. I've always been passive. I was sure that Onichan would tell me everything, so I naively thought I just had to believe whatever he said. I was wrong. That's not what this is. This is a battle between me, the one who wants to reach the truth, and Onichan, who wants to trick me and chase me out into a 1998 where I'm all alone. All this time I've kept on saying that Onichan was foolish and naive, and now I see that I was more naive than everyone else. And yet, Burncastle didn't sneer at me. On the contrary, she looked at me with that cold gaze, as if to say, "So you've finally taken your first step."
Now do you understand your own purpose and the purpose of that key?
I gripped the key Onichan had hung around my neck. And for a while, I shook with an emotion that even I couldn't understand. Now that I know Onichan tricked me, it would be easy to hate him, but hating him would be missing the point. After all, this is a game between me and him. Onichan has done nothing but make the optimal moves for winning against me. If games aren't a playful way to communicate, if they're the process that decides who wins and who loses, then there can be no fair games. The best strategy is always to trick your enemy into defeat without telling them the rules, before they even know what's going on. In that sense, Onichan hasn't done anything wrong. He's using that sickly sweet illusion to trick me and force me out into a lonely future. They'll be the only ones having a good time in the cat box, and I'll be the only one chased out.
I don't know about good time in the cat box, but alright.
Thank you. I'm grateful. I think I've finally been able to truly open my eyes.
Please, don't hate Battler. After all, one-sidedly tricking your opponent is what Game Masters do.
I know. Onichan took the best option from his perspective. That's all there is to it. So, I need to make the best possible moves from my perspective. My goal is now clear. October 4th and 5th, 1986. What happened on Rokkenjima on those days? I need to tear off the veil covering the truth. Nothing more, nothing less. Onichan gave me this key, probably because he wants me to put it into the keyhole of his choosing. That's why he keeps showing me this sentimental illusion, but I won't be fooled anymore. I'll open the door I want to open.
Certainly this kind of tale is more to my liking than the one where Angie does whatever Battler says. Then this time I'll let you run the show from here on out. Tell Angie. Tell her where the keyhole that leads to the truth is.
Tell me, where is the keyhole?
Very well. First off, have a seat. I'll go and get it for you.
When Featherine rose from her rocking chair, my vision seemed to twist and bend. What is this? Some kind of interference? Why now, when Featherine's about to show me something important? Why is my head getting suddenly... I dug my fingernails into my knees, clenching my teeth to keep from losing consciousness. However, the world just kept twisting more and more. Except for the feel of the sofa beneath me, I couldn't sense anything at all.
Yo, lady.
Huh?
Hey, it looks like they arrived.
The door opened and Hachijo Toya appeared. What's going on? This isn't the world of witches, but the world of humans? I was sitting on a sofa and Amakusa was behind me. There's no need to feel confused. Featherine and Hachijo Toya are the same being. To her, the difference between the two worlds is a trivial thing. To put it in the words of that theater lover, it's like having a slightly different background behind the stage, so there was no reason for me to feel hesitant. Should I call you Madam Hachijo this time?
How complicated names are. Even though both of us are still here, just like before. You have to wonder what to call me.
True. Calling you Featherine would be a bit rude to you now. For an actor, the name of the role they act is only temporary.
Precisely, child of man. Yo, Featherine? That name's fucking dope. Where can I get a name like that?
Amakusa's eyes went wide as he wondered what I was suddenly talking about. I ignored him and continued. So, what are you going to show me? As I spoke, my eyes were caught by that heavy-looking object she held under her arm. At a glance, it looked like an encyclopedia with a fancy binding.
Do you know what this is?
As Featherine spoke, she sat the heavy object on the table. The first thing it reminded me of was a grimoire. The heavy book had a mysterious, mystical feel to it, like something Maria One-chan might carry around. And the most remarkable feature of it was the large, sturdy lock that held it shut.
The one Battler didn't want her to open back at the very beginning. Right.
Why would someone go so far as to keep people from reading a book?
Why don't you take it and observe the back?
The back? I flipped the heavy book over on my lap.
It's the newest James Patterson novel. I thought you might enjoy it. Truly, nothing can sate the curious intellectual mind like the adventures of Alex Cross.
And as soon as I saw it, I gave a small gasp. Ava? Ushiromia Ava? Without a doubt, those words were written there in Roman characters. What is this? Aunt Ava's diary?
Could this be that rumored...
Do you know something about this?
Just a rumor. They say that President Ava had a secret diary and she always kept it locked up. Say she took it with her everywhere she went. This is what I heard from some of the other bodyguards.
A secret diary? Why is that here?
It was in the hospital room where Ushiromiya Eva passed away. Don't ask me how I got it. Just don't ask.
This diary was hidden behind her bed, so it remained in that room for some time after her death before it was found. Then, by coincidence, it was probably found by someone who worked for the hospital, or else a patient or their family. Of course, by that time, there was a huge movement dedicated to the Rokkenjima mystery. A locked diary found in the hospital room where Ushiromiya Eva spent her last moments would be absolutely priceless. The discoverer probably handed it over in secret to one of the witch hunters who would be able to accurately determine its worth. Luckily, the witch hunters who got their hands on this book were all noble and upright people, not content to boorishly destroy the lock and reveal the truth. They simply satisfied themselves with the fact that the truth of that day slumbered just on the other side of this mysterious lock. Thanks to that, Ava's diary has remained undamaged to this very day.
It is already known that Natsuhi, wife of Kraus, the oldest son of Kinzo, sealed up all of her complaints and repressed feelings by writing them down in a diary, which she treated like a sort of charm.
So, Aunt Ava did the same thing?
Well, no one knows, apparently, right?
It's possible, at least. Putting up a diary like this would be a pain, even if you did have a key. Sealed up tight like a corset. And I know corsets. Heyo!
Amakusa was right.
Yeah, I am.
This wasn't a diary made to be casually opened and reminisced over. It's probably safe to assume that she used this diary to forget things by writing them down and sealing them away, just like Ushiromiya Natsuhi did. Then, she brought it with her into her hospital room and hid it behind the bed without telling anyone about it. Don't tell me that diary is... Are you saying Aunt Ava wrote down what happened that day?
By reading its contents, you will probably learn everything. However, we don't know where the key that unlocks it is.
I jumped. Then I looked down at my chest. That's where my brother hung that key. Huh? It's gone. The key's gone.
What's wrong, lady? What key?
It's been hanging from my neck this whole time, hasn't it?
I never noticed it. You had a key hanging from your neck?
I understood almost immediately. In the world of humans, I haven't found the key. The me with the key is on the game board in the world of witches. Make me the me with the key. I'm going to unlock this diary. Featherine lifted a finger, spun it around, and the world twisted again.
Right round, baby. Right round.
When I returned to Featherine's study, the key popped back into existence, hanging from my neck. But at the same time, the diary on my lap popped out of existence. Where'd the diary go?
It should exist somewhere on the game board. Since it is one of the keyholes you ought to be given, it must exist.
Did Oni-chan hide it somewhere?
Oh, if only you were shown at the very beginning of the game. Since Battler wants this to be a game between you and him, it probably isn't hidden completely.
What do you mean?
Even if Battler thinks of the diary as a king he mustn't lose, there would be no game unless it exists somewhere on this board.
In other words, it's somewhere in the Ushiromiya mansion?
Or you may have already been given an opportunity to witness it. Like how a swindler has already hidden a trap in microscopic letters on the first page of a contract you sign. Battler follows the customs of the mystery genre as the game master. Clues must be shown, so the choice that leads to Battler's defeat must have been shown somewhere. Hey Angie, try and remember. You should have seen Ava's... try to remember what form it... You should have seen Ava's diary in Battler's world already.
In that instant, from the back of my mind, drifted the very first scene of this final game.
Yep.
In the chapel, a book was lying on the altar, a book with a lock on it. As soon as I showed interest in that book, my brother suddenly grew stern and told me not to touch it. That was Aunt Ava's diary.
That's right. Ushiromiya Ava's diary. The book of the single truth, with the truth of that day written inside it.
The book of the single truth? Is the truth really inside it? After all, there's a chance it's just something Aunt Ava...
I'll say it in red. Ushiromiya Ava's diary. The book of the single truth has the truth of Rokkenjima during October 4th and 5th, 1986 recorded within it.
Damn.
Damn. Holy shit. Do you think the game is actually going to make us choose whether to open it or not?
It keeps talking about the choice, the decision, the choice, the decision.
And it's been
I feel like it's
throwing
gonna.
decision points out of nowhere.
I feel
guess
like
then-
it's gonna.
I guess then the question becomes like, what is the actual choice we should make at that? Oh, hey, Sakutaro made it. Sorry we didn't get your riddle right, Mario, to get Sakutaro coming in. We'll see you all next time, I suppose. Damn. What a fucking dress. It's just all the way out there, huh? Wait. Oh, they're here too. Oh, okay. Oh my god. Everyone is here.
Wow.
It's like fucking Smash Bros up in this bitch.
This is new.
Wow, yeah, these are all...
Lord Battler and his wife.
Battler, the territory lord of the game board, and his wife Beatrice. After their wedding in the 6th game, they became a happy married couple. In the past, Battler emerged victorious at the end of his long-lasting game with Beato. He reached all the truths behind everything. Now in this final game, they have invited Battler's little sister, Angie. Just what sort of tale will he weave with Beato by his side?
They let me put my skirt back down. I didn't like it that short. It was weird.
Ava Beatrice, the witch who returned alive from the legend of the witch serial murders and inherited the name of Beatrice. She uses the Ava culprit theory to refute all other existing theories regarding the cat box. At the same time, she can use the Ava culprit theory to create endless tragedies with herself as the culprit. Perhaps she could also be called the lid separating the inside and the outside of the cat box. Of course, she knows what's inside. Rudo Erica, the Witch of Truth, successfully revived from the depths of oblivion. She's an enigma, a witch who is also a detective and a human. Once again, she will serve her master Berncastle in her scheming.
That's my motto. Always be scheming.
Do we have any new text for, like, Lambda and Bernie?
Lambda! Invited to the guest as a guest to the final game by the Territory Lord and his wife. At times in the past, she has interfered with the game board along with Berncastle, but she now remains neutral, acting as an impartial observer. She's known for having many famous friends from various fields, but the fact that Berncastle is one of these is something that should be noted with awe.
Aww.
Not like that. Stop it. Stop. Whatever you're doing. Berncastle, the witch who controls miracles, but she's also known as the witch who knows that miracles do not occur. She is determined to destroy the illusion of the witch, and even now when Beto's game board has fulfilled its function, her determination remains just as strong. She's known as the Miko of the Great Lady Aurora, and rumor has it that this backing has given her considerable influence in the Senate.
Berncastle refuses to eliminate the filibuster.
Oh no. The majestic witch of theater-going drama and spectating. Featherine Augustus Aurora. I guess the first ow is for Augustus.
Yeah.
What was Battler's birthday? Do we know that?
I don't know.
I know what you're gonna say. Yeah, you know what I'm thinking now, and now I'm gonna have to go look it up. Shit. She is tired of life after 1,000 years and constantly repeats a cycle of life and death. In the past, she served as the master for several games as a legendary witch, but her legend, glory, and memory have already disappeared into the past and have been forgotten. Only the solemn medal she wears on her chest contains those memories. The horseshoe-shaped object floating around her head is a memory aid device. It records her name, appearance, and other aspects of her personality, so old that she would not be able to preserve her own individuality without this. Okay, yeah, that's the same as the last time we've... What are Furfur and Zepar up to this time? Anything different?
That seems the same.
It seems the same. Different gender. Yeah, they're of a different gender than each other. That's all we know. While carrying out a job as an inquisitive heresy at Byrne's request, Willard met Leone. In the final stages of the tale, he rejected the tragedy presented by the Witch of Miracles. In search of that happy ending, they have wandered through the sea of fragments, putting their lives on the line. They are now under Lady Lambda Delta's protection.
Anyway, has anyone seen a Mexican restaurant around here? There just aren't a whole lot in this area, and that's, like, kind of rough.
I mean, we're on an island, so that
Yeah?
does kind of track, Will.
Well, I'm sorry. Is it so much to expect that there'd be, like, one? Come on, they built a guest house. They built another second fucking mansion. They couldn't have built a fucking Taco Bell.
Good point.
All right. Yeah, this is all the same.
Yep.
All right. I doubt there's anything. Oh, the Chesters. I fucking love that
Nyeh.
face. All right. I think that's all we're getting out of this.
Yeah.
But it's so weird seeing the entire board filled
It
up.
finally got filled in.
Wow. How long must have been planning on that for? Tiny Angie! Tiny Angie! Oh my god! She's got the one-winged eagle on her stocking.
Huh.
That's okay. That's adorable.
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.